Cool. Hey everyone, just making a quick little video with our friend here, Barry Hartman from 505 Junk, just on the importance of getting out of the day-to-day to start to build some of the systems required for your business to actually grow and scale effectively. And it's a bit of their story about how they kind of managed to do that, what specifically they did to kind of start to pull away from early beginnings to where they're at today, and the results of what's that they've achieved in that. And overall, yeah, I just think they're great guys. They've got an amazing story, and I would love for you guys to just glean some information from that. So decided to bring Barry on today. But yeah, man, thanks for coming in and chatting with me.
Anytime, Danny, anytime.
And by coming in, I mean sitting in your own office while I do the same. Beauty of technology. So yeah, man. But so basically, I thought it'd be just a good conversation. Maybe just start with introducing everyone, kind of a bit of who you are, what your background is, and kind of what you guys have been up to the last couple of years, and then we'll dive into some of the specifics you've done to just pull away from the day to day and what you've been building. So.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. So my name is Barry Hartman. I'm the co-founder of 505 Junk with my business partner, Scott Foran. Started 505 Junk just at the end of 2011. We spent the last 5 years or so developing a junk removal company. Last year, we took that junk removal company to the next step and developed a franchise model, a lot of which required a lot of operations manual and systematization of the business so that we could expand to multi-locations. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
Cool. So let's like play this out a bit of a story even, but like tell me a bit about like when we first met you, what was your like day to day? Like what were you doing? What was Scott doing? What were the staff doing? What was your time filled with? What was going on at that time?
Yeah, it was that classic, like, if the entrepreneur has 50 hats, then Scott and I would juggle 25 each kind of thing. So it was anything from going out in the truck to financial management to running production, the sales center, taking all the inbound calls, administration, training, hire. It was honestly a mixture of everything, because a lot of the staff we had at the time was all production. And so we still did a bit of production, but we're just starting to step out of that and move into more of a management role.
Cool. And how long was that going on for? Like, how long were you in that kind of like wearing all hats kind of time frame of your business? How long was that?
I would say first full year, 2012 until maybe 2014, 2015. We were definitely multi-hat, all over the place kind of thing. Last year was the first year where we put a heavy focus on promoting some key internal employees to get out of production per se and more into managerial roles. So it still required a lot of hands-on coaching to get them up to the skill sets that they needed to be independent. So that was a lot of what Scott was doing, and a lot of what I was doing all last year was going back to the basics, understanding the core systems of the company and documenting everything so that we could transfer that knowledge a lot more efficiently through the form of an operations manual.
Cool. Yeah. So basically a lot of day-to-day stuff and then slowly transitioning out into a place where Scott was out working with the team more, getting everybody ready to be managers and take on your guys' roles. And you were kind of the back end building documents and systems and templates and stuff for to basically McDonald's, your company. McDonald's as your company.
100%. We needed to cook those quarter pounders at 30 seconds, not a minute.
Cool. And so just like for a lot of the guys out there, like I know a lot of people we work with are trying to figure out, okay, there's even like 5 hours a week to get away, especially during the summer months when it gets really busy for everyone. What are some things you did to just start that process, just to start to make time for this type of stuff?
Yeah, so it starts with finding the right people. As everyone knows, finding the right people will provide you with that freedom to step out of the day-to-day. And once you now have that time, it's about how you manage that time. So for us, really getting our personal calendars dialed in so that we know when we're going to have that free time, we can commit to that free time and really focus that free time on whatever is necessary in order to kind of systematize the business.
Yeah. So you schedule it, put it in your calendar physically.
It's all scheduled. So scheduling is the first part. The second part is the discipline to follow that schedule. But yes, it's all about scheduling.
I was just going to say, what do you say to the guys who are like, I do it, I schedule it, but then I ignore it?
You're just cheating yourself. No, honestly though, the schedule is there as a tool to hold yourself accountable. But it always goes back to you as the business owner to be disciplined enough to follow that schedule. And the idea is that when you make that schedule, you're in a very good, clear-headed mindset. You're in a good headspace. So you have to trust that the schedule is built with purpose, with intention, so that when you're kind of in the day-to-day and you're like, oh, the last thing I can do right now is write a system, you have to trust that that was put in your schedule for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing I always think about, you mentioned earlier, just like hire the right people so you can create some time. People be like, well, easier said than done. But one thing I'll just give a little nugget to everyone about is think about all the things you do in a week, right? And if you think about, especially if you have a growing business like Barry, your business went from 400K to I think it's almost $2 million now. You guys are doing a year, roughly. So it's grown quite a bit. The, the value of what your time is actually worth has grown with it, right? And if you're not evaluating that at least once a year, it's very easy to get caught doing jobs that are, way under, I guess you'd say, your pay grade, right? Anything that's 20 or even $30 an hour probably isn't really worth your time anymore. And what you probably, and I know you've done this, but I just want to give everyone a bit of advice here. What you probably should be doing for everyone listening is take all the things you do in a week, write them all down on a list, and then circle the things that are highest time consumption and lowest skill. And that's usually an indicator of the stuff that you need to kind of get off your plate. And whether it means hiring the next role for your company and putting that into a complete role, or delegating it down to a few employees that have some of the space to take it on, that's a really good, effective way to start to create some of those little chunks of time that you can, schedule in your calendar and actually commit to. But that said, like Barry says, like it still takes that discipline of respecting yourself and being like, this is a sacred space, right? I like to think of it as like if I'm doing a quote for a client, I'm showing up. Like if I book it at 12 o'clock on Tuesday, I'm showing up at, probably 11:50 to get ready for my quote. Why don't I give it that same level of respect though when it comes to building systems for my company? When ultimately that's way more valuable than booking one job.
And something that we've actually talked about before, Danny, is time those, what may appear as kind of a mundane task of writing a system out, time that to a much larger inspiration. So in our case, the larger inspiration is being able to achieve our vision of being a national brand through the forms of franchising. Now, that's not going to be for everyone. Someone else's vision might be to build a really profitable business and sell it at some point. Well, it's very likely that either no one's going to buy it or the value of your business is going to grow exponentially once you systematize it. You can put good people in place. Another vision might be, I do want to be very much involved in the business, but I don't necessarily want to be the general manager of the business. So if you have a GM in place that you can coach and work one-on-one with, it removes a lot of responsibilities for yourself, but they still need those systems. So it always goes back to the same question of, or the same point being that creating those systems, putting the right people in place, coaching them, training them, rinse and repeat is the number one way to get out of the day-to-day of your business.
Cool. Now we do something kind of crazy. In the middle of summer, we have the summer retreat, right? Which is right in the middle when most of our people, not everybody, most of our people are extremely busy. From your experience, like, because you've been almost every single one, like, why do you keep coming to that? What's the value in that for you? And what are some of the challenges in the reality of actually getting out there and being away from your business, being away from your cell phone for 3 days, turning everything off and just, being with a group of like entrepreneurs? Like, why do you do it? What are the challenges in doing that? And what are you getting from doing that every summer?
Yeah, it gives you a good kind of mix up or a good head shake. On a day-to-day level, actually, Brad Levine from Eco Paving, he kind of taught me this one where, if you feel like you're not going in the direction that you're happy with, just you need a little bit of a shake up, a little bit of a head shake, just to kind of, whoa, like where was those thoughts going? Where was that kind of grind going? And then you get back focused on what you're doing. Same thing on a weekly basis. You need that break on that Sunday or whatever day you're going to do to kind of give that week a bit of a shake, get realigned, and then get refocused for the following week. Same thing quarterly, annually, whatever it's going to be, just stepping out of the business for a couple days, call it a vacation, call it strategic planning, calling it collaborating with other entrepreneurs. It's a bit of everything, but just getting out of that day to day is going to get you refocused on the most important components. And even on top of that, you're probably going to walk away with a new perspective on your business because there's so many dozens or hundreds or however many other people, entrepreneurs are there, that are all going to be trying to help you get back on track for what you had set out to do at the start of the year.
Cool. Awesome. It's good, man. And yeah, I hope to see you there. I think you're coming this year again.
Oh yeah, of course.
Good, man.
Never miss a beat.
Have a good time. Sweet. And so I think like just for everyone listening, like what would be like one word of advice you have for everybody just heading into this summer? Like where it's gonna be a busy, crazy year. We've got lots going on. Everyone's got lots on their agenda. Maybe just from your own experience and even what you and Scott are doing right now for this year, like what are you guys doing? Any advice for just how to maintain balance amongst all this craziness of being an entrepreneur?
One learning lesson that I've had is don't strive for perfection. Like embrace the chaos. I mean, a lot of us are in home services or trades where, yeah, it's natural. We're going to go through this upswing, and it's going to mean more production, more staff, more revenue, more money, more problems, all this kind of things. Where it's just the inevitable that's the thing we go through. But embrace it. Have it come at you full force, but be ready for it. But at the same time, don't use it as an excuse to be like, oh, I'm too busy, so I can't do this. So it's not so when I say embrace the chaos, it doesn't mean that you can just kind of go and dive head first and start digging a ditch or something like that and do it for 4 months and come out of the ditch and be like, well, you know what, I was busy, so I feel sorry for myself. Things aren't going to go perfectly, but you still want to use that time blocking system to make sure you have enough time for yourself, for your employees, and to make sure that you're working on the business. We were talking about, creating systems before. So if that's your form of working on the business, then you still want to do that, because this spring summer period is a long time. It's half the year. So it's not like we can just build systems in the winter season. It's a continuous ongoing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's big too. Like, there's two things I think you're touching on which are important, which is you're allocating time for your day-to-day self. It is what it is. You're going to be in the day-to-day. Allocate time for that. You're allocating time for working on the company to build good systems, but you're also making sure you allocate time for yourself, for your family, for like own mental state. I don't know how many people know this, but we just had our third kid, and so I'm watching my wife right now go through like being mom all day, 24/7, right? And she's burning out. This is her third week with our third child, and I'm like, honey, like we need to go away for at least a couple days, even just one day. We'll give the baby some formula. We'll have my wife's mom's good to babysit with her, and just give her a reset, because so many weeks of just grinding it out and putting your head down and just doing what you do every single day and never looking up will eventually just collapse you. But if you can maybe once a month even just have a reset where you just take some time, space out for yourself, just like to do your thing, really gets your energy back up so you can keep going. Because the summer especially, it's 4 to 6 months for a lot of us of just grinding it out. And if you can schedule in 4 to 6 little periods of time to just take some time for yourself and your family, if you don't do that already, I really recommend you do, because you can't think straight otherwise. You can work 8 hours a week and be as effective as if you worked 30 if you don't have a good headspace. So
Absolutely. And we've got all the excuses in the world not to do it.
yeah.
You got employees and staff and, trucks breaking down, whatever the excuses are. Don't get into that trap and avoid it. And the way to avoid it is stick to your schedule, stick to your system, trust that you made the process when you're in a good state. It's there for a reason. I took my mom out for dinner on Thursday, and the dinner reservation was for 5:30. When I booked that time, I put it at 5:30 because I know that I can go and spend a reasonable amount of time for her and get back home and hang out with my girlfriend before like 11 o'clock at night. On Thursday at 4 p.m., I'm like, oh, what? 5:30? What was I thinking? It was scheduled intentionally. And so you just get up and go, leave the office. So yeah, I'm a big fan of scheduling. If you can't tell, it just really gives you control over your time and your business and your life.
Awesome. Cool. If we're talking about scheduling a ton, maybe what I'll do just to close this out, I'll just give everyone an idea of what schedules can look like. I think a lot of you probably seen this, but this is my life. This is kind of what it looks like for me, right? So we've got weekend time, there's Mother's Day, there's like a lot of work in here. I've got slush time slushed out, and you can basically always have time to work on the business. So here's me on Friday all day scheduled to work with Igor on some of our speaking topics, right? So the rest of my week is kind of crazy. If you look at my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a crazy time for us, right? But I've got some time, especially on my Friday, to just work on the company. So then I'm picking up Joey, and we're going 4x4ing. So
I was going to say pack Jeep tomorrow for 4x4. That sounds fun. Thanks for the invite.
There you go. So
That's good.
anyways, that was a great chat, Barry. Thanks for your time on that. Any other just last words of advice or thoughts for everyone?
I'm just gonna beat it in again. Embrace the chaos. You know, the spring summer season's coming up. Enjoy it. Crank those profit margins, but also, you know, don't get too dialed into the day to day. Knowing that it's a long stretch. So um,
And if you're one of the
enjoy
members
it.
out there on this on your seat on the seat of the fence, like, are you coming to the summer retreat or not? Just freaking come.
Oh, it's a no brainer.
Yeah.
This is for Scott. I went on a little vacation earlier to Australia with my girlfriend in March, but for Scott especially, like this is his like defining moment where it's like hustle, 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 grind. VTA summer retreat in June. Gets to go a little fishing, hang out with people, relax for a bit, take some days off midweek, reset, recharge, come back and hit it hard for the second half of the summer.
Yeah, buddy. It'd be a good time.
Gotta
Sweet.
be there.
Okay. Thanks for chatting with us, and we'll send this out to the group. Okay. Thanks,
Sounds
everyone.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you, Barry. All right.
Bye.
Bye.